Hello, and welcome to the Daily Space for today, Wednesday, October 28th, 2020. I am your host, Annie Wilson. Most weekdays, we're here putting science into your brain. Usually Wednesdays are for Rocket Roundup, and today I just want to thank everyone who supported us in the CosmoQuest Hangoutathon this past weekend. Thank you very much for all of your donations. It goes to pay for servers, salaries, and benefits. So thank you for allowing us to continue doing what we do. We are really grateful. Anyways, there were rocket launches this past week, believe it or not. So yeah, let's get to it, shall we? So first up is SpaceX. On October 24th at 15:31 UTC, SpaceX launched its 100th successful flight from Slick 40 at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida. This was a dedicated Starlink mission, so another 60 satellites were added to the mega constellation, bringing the total number of the version 1.0 satellites launched to 833 of a planned 1,440 satellites. For those of you keeping score at home, this was the third flight for booster Bravo 1060. According to SpaceX, Bravo 1060 previously launched the GPS-3 Space Vehicle 3 mission in June and a different Starlink mission in September. There was no fairing catch attempted due to maintenance, but both fairing halves were recovered successfully from the water.
And watch as Falcon 9 takes our 60 Starlink satellites into orbit today.
A very sooty
Stage 1 tank pressing for flight.
booster.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. And we have liftoff.
Yeah!
Vehicles reaching down range.
And the camera's vibrating. It's kind of a cloudy day, so it just kind of disappears behind the clouds. All right, so next up is the video of it landing, because it's not a SpaceX launch without a landing.
There's confirmation, stage 1 landing burn. You can kind of see that burn kind of shaking the camera there.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
And it'll happen all at once. Yeah, that.
Seco.
Stage 1 landing.
And we had a little bit of a rough camera view there, but the Falcon has landed on our drone ship for its third landing on Just Read the Instructions. This marks our 63rd successful recovery of a Falcon first stage and the 11th for Just Read the Instructions.
Very cool. All right. So next up, on October 25th at 19:08 UTC, a Russian Space Force Soyuz 2.1 Bravo launched the GLONASS-K number 15 Lima satellite into orbit from LC-43-3 at Plezhtek Cosmodrome in Russia. GLONASS is Russia's global navigation satellite system like GPS, Galileo, or Beidou. This is the third satellite to be launched of the third generation of GLONASS satellites. The previous two were launched first in 2011 and then the second one in 2014. So it's been 6 years between the second and the third satellite to be launched. According to a press release from Roscosmos, one of the improvements in this third generation of GLONASS satellites is that GLONASS-K carries two types of navigation signals, frequency separated and code separated. In addition to their main functions, they will transmit information from the CosmoQuest SARSAT International Search and Rescue System. And we've got launch video! It loud. It real loud. We'll see multiple angles of the launch too. And one more time! Engine's all up, but you don't see the arms retract until right before it goes up. And again! And again! I think sound-wise, that last one was my favorite. All right, finally, China launched 3 Yaogan Weixing 30 Group 7 satellites on a Long March to Charlie rocket on Monday, October 26th at 15:19 UTC from LC-3 at Xichang Satellite Launch Center. On board were 4 satellites, a triplet of Yaogan 30 Group 7 satellites, and Tianqi 6. Not much is known about the Yaogan satellites, but these new satellites are expected to be used to, quote, conduct electromagnetic probes and other experiments, end quote. Analysts believe that the satellites will be used for military purposes, possibly forming a high revisit constellation for imaging activities or signal intelligence missions. Tianqi 6 is thought to be a 6-unit CubeSat weighing about 8 kilograms or 4 2-liter soda bottles. It has a camera on board, but the primary mission seems to be data communications. And of course, we got launch video. All right, here's the video. You can see the things retracting.
3、2、1，点火！
All right, one more time. So, things retract
3、
way before it's launched.
1，点火！
And the orange and red you see is from the fuel that they use, which is very pretty, but very toxic. Yeah! All right. And then earlier this week, SpaceX announced pricing for their still in beta Starlink service. The name of the initial rollout service, Better Than Nothing Beta, I am not joking, that's what it's really called, is an attempt to manage expectations. According to an email sent out to the initial users being invited to take part of the beta, users can expect to see data speeds vary from 50 megabits per second to 150 megabits per second, and latency from 20 milliseconds to 40 milliseconds over the next several months. And that there may be brief periods of no connectivity at all, presumably while they're upgrading the Starlink system. The target for summer 2021 is a latency of 16 to 19 milliseconds. They've also rolled out a Starlink app for iOS and Android that will be used to help set up the dish used for the Starlink hardware. The setup cost for the flat dish antenna, a mounting tripod, and a Wi-Fi router is $499 US, and the monthly subscription cost is $99 US. Yeah, still kind of pricey, but better than nothing. All right, to wrap things up, here's a running tally of a few spaceflight statistics for the current year. There are currently 4 toilets in space, 2 are installed on the ISS, 1 is on the Soyuz, and 1 is not yet installed. So far this year, humanity has burned up 3 toilets in the atmosphere. We've put a whopping 1,041 satellites into orbit. That number includes those launched from other in-orbit craft, such as the International Space Station. Total satellites directly from launches is 1,013, and we've launched 773 Starlinks just this year. For 2020, there have been a total of 85 orbital launch attempts, including 9 failures. I keep track of orbital launches by where they launched from, also known as spaceport. Here's that breakdown. China, 32, USA, 28, Kazakhstan, 7, Russia, 5, French Guiana, 4, New Zealand, 3, Japan, 3, Iran, 2, Israel, 1. And your random space fact for the week comes to us from Kerbal01. All of the men in space are currently named Sergey. And now I am going to answer questions from our live Twitch audience. So while I look for questions, this is a reminder that this is brought to you by the Planetary Science Institute, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to exploring our solar system and beyond. Today's script was written and edited by myself, Dave Ballard, Gordon Dewis, and Ali Palfrey, and Beth Johnson will produce our web content. And our fearless leader, of course, is Dr. Pamela Gay. All right, so I've scrolled up to the top of chat, and there's some chatter about the technical difficulties I had earlier. Okay. So DPI asks, did Roscosmos get a new logo? So I try to use logos that are as close to the organization that's responsible for the launch as possible. And that gets a little tricky because in the US, it's very easy and clear to define, partially because I speak English and partially because I'm an American citizen and I live in America, you know, what company is launching which military, thing, right? So ULA and SpaceX and occasionally Rocket Lab, which is American New Zealand company, will launch NRO missions, right? National Reconnaissance Office. And I tend to I either go with a mission patch or I go with like Rocket Lab's logo or ULA's logo or et cetera, right? So it seems like Roscosmos and the Russian military both are very closely intertwined with this whole rocket stuff. And in fact, Dave, who helps me out with this stuff, pointed out that if it launches from Plezhtech, it's probably Russian military. So the logo I used, and I'll pull it back up in a second, was for the Russian Space Force, because yes, that is a thing. That is totally a thing. So this is the logo, and this is for the Russian Space Force. Previously, I've used the Russian military logo, which just looks like a gold eagle. I decided to go with something that's very similar to the Russian Space Force logo, and I don't think I can skip forward in the video to where it is, but in part of the video I played, there is someone... No, that was a Chinese video. Never mind, I'm getting my videos confused. Some of the media that I didn't post or shares, because there's so many photos and I can only include so many. Some of them actually had, you know, people in uniform. I want to say soldiers in uniform that had something that looked like this on their patch, or they had the blue. They had something similar to this over the Russian military eagle. So it's hard to always decide on a thing, but this logo in particular is for the Russian Space Force, because that's who is responsible for this launch. It's complicated. I don't always do this perfectly. So yeah. Spends a lot of time on the ground before it actually launches. Yes. That particular Soyuz sure lit up its engines before it was finally released and went up. So I think I lost all the questions. Ed Thompson points out that SATCOM isn't cheap. Keeper adds that if you're in the middle of nowhere, that's a reasonable cost, being $500 for the dish, the tripod, and the Wi-Fi router. Please keep in mind that when, I asked for the story to be included because Gordon's the one that wrote that up, Gordon made sure to point out that price included the router. Yeah, that much for the hardware setup doesn't really surprise me. It's the $100 a month that surprises me. And Kerbal01 has a point in chat. Like, they're not competing with fiber in major cities, they're doing rural. So, and Scott Bragdon, this shows how much I know about satellite internet, right? I've used it, but I've never had to pay for it. Scott says, I'm surprised it's only $99 a month for Starlink. Figured it would be $200 a month. And basically it's 100 for 100, as DPI points out. $100 for 100 megabits, which isn't. I mean, when you're out in a really rural area, it's not bad, but it's still a lot. It's still a lot. Yeah. I saw a question. So Zion points out that the average household income in all of Africa is under $99 per month, so it'll benefit only a small elite of very wealthy people. Somebody wrote an article or did up a graph. I saw it posted on Twitter. I don't have the link on me, but you can find it on Twitter, about who this is going to benefit. And without getting into it right now, their target market is North America. And this seems to be, for those that are comfortable in North America, reasonable. If you get 3 households, which I know some of you are thinking splitting 100 megabits between 3 households is unthought of. Between 3 households, everybody pitching in like $30 a month, that makes it more manageable, but it also cuts down on speeds. But if you had nothing before, putting $30 into a pot is better than nothing. And the Ho reservation in Washington State, they've actually installed one in their community center, which is really cool. So the people that can't afford this on that reservation can go to the community center and have Wi-Fi there, which is great. It's great. Hanny's asked, will any Starlinks be sent on the Starship? I've heard that rumor, Hanny, but not yet. So, and then yes, Starlink, as I answered before, Starlink is going to do North America first. I don't remember when they expect to be able to roll out to the rest of the world, but I would not be surprised if it does end up being a bunch of people that pool their money for one internet connection, where if you've had no internet, it's anything's better than nothing. So DPI says, or there's some comments about from Ed Thompson in DPI about the Russian Space Force logo and the US Space Force. Ed says it's funny how both the US and Russian Space Force both have a version of the Star Trek Starfleet Delta in it. And I'm going to flip back to it so you all know what I'm talking about. So this pointy thing in the center, the up pointing arrow, that's in a lot of Starcraft launchy thing. I sound so intelligent. That's in a bunch of logos, right? The pointy uppy thingy. The very technical terms of pointy uppy thingy. Like you see that in Space Force, you see that in ISRO, you see that in CASC, you see that in Russian Space Force, as I have here. You see it a lot, and it's been explained to me that that's just part of one of the things used to do math. So, yeah. On the diagonal points out, even in developed parts of Africa, access to computers is still limited. I have a colleague at the University of Cairo where their whole department has a single computer. Correct. Cell phones, smartphones are a lot more common. And I have seen pictures of teachers in rural classrooms drawing out what the computer screen would look like on the chalkboard so they could teach their students how to use the program. And it's interesting. The US Space Command was the first with the Delta symbol. That's from the 50s. And yes, always pointy end up, flamey end down. So, I do not remember HughesNet, Ed. I used internet on Post. I didn't pay for internet outside of a internet cafe. I think I do know somebody who did buy internet, and it was very expensive and the quality was very poor. So, yeah. The pointy uppy thingy is supposed to be a stylized rocket. I thought it was supposed to be a bit of from an equation. You know how there's symbols and equations. I am sounding so intelligent right now. But yeah, the pointy uppy thingy. I can see it as a stylized rocket. I can see it as part of an equation. But it's a very common motif in these logos. I see it a lot. And the more you look at these, the more you see it. And if I guess I get bored enough, I can just probably do image morphing between all of them. So Hanny says, so on Star Trek, the pointy part should be a ship with a saucer section. Maybe? I don't know. Anyways, anybody have any more questions? I'm kind of... Greek letter delta. Yes, the Raven Lillian. Yes. Like I said, I have not had enough coffee. I'm running on fumes. I think I finished all of my cold brew today too. Or there might be like one shot left. So there is that. But yeah, the Greek letter delta. So this is an announcement that next week is election week. If you are in the US and you have not yet voted and you are able to vote, go vote. That's all I'm gonna say. Just please take the time to go vote. And yeah, the Big Delta does have a straight bottom DPI. So we're going to take the entire next week off from Sunday to Sunday. That means there will be no Science Sunday this weekend. That means there will be no daily space. I can't speak for anybody else. But I can tell you that I think we'll still have Jillian's coffee on Tuesday. But from the 1st to the 8th, we're not going to stream. We did not take this week off to recover from the Hangout-a-thon. So we're going to do that next week, as well as give everybody a chance in the team to go vote because life is complicated. Yeah, we will miss you all. There's going to be so many rockets to catch up on when we get back. But yeah, we're not going to stream next week. And I'm hoping Pamela will remind you all of that tomorrow. So I guess this is the last call. Aha! DPI found more thingies. The silver outer border of the Delta signifies defense and protection from all adversaries and threats emanating from the space domain. That sounds about right. That sounds about right. Remember, the first rockets were missiles. So, I don't have any... And Star Trek. Yeah, and Star Trek. Gotcha. What was the final amount from the Hangout-a-thon? I know it was over $14,000. I know for sure it was over $10,000 because I fed my dogs bacon. If you want to see my dogs eating bacon, watch the last hour. So in the last hour, you'll see my dogs eating bacon. You'll see, and eggs, because I fed them eggs too, and they both appear on camera. You'll see us blowing up Bennu in Minecraft and things of that nature. We still have the Minecraft server open for Solar System. We're still working on it. It was essentially paid for a month. Like, Saturn is still not done. Saturn is still not done. Well, excuse me. Bennu seems so soft. It is. And yeah, blowing it up was a thing of beauty. I very much appreciated that. And yes, the actual Bennu does seem really soft. Like, I was not expecting them to fill the canister on the first try. Oh, good. So worked on the vehicle assembly building. So aside from the solar system in the end or space, we also have a bunch of space-themed buildings in the overworld or Earth. That includes the VAD, there's an observatory, there's a bigger version of Berry Sheet, there's a shuttle with a landing and guards, and oh good, I'm glad you guys made a lot of progress on Saturn's rings last night. But I think we're just going to continue working on it until the time's up, and hopefully we'll get it done. And I do believe they punched Bennu and their arm disappeared to the elbow. And I do believe that the plan is to upload the world to a place where people can look at it. And yeah. Did I place a block for Daphne's the Shepherd Moon? I don't know. And I mean, she could tweet those images in the Discord. That's up to her. I'm not going to tell her how to do her job. I'm not the fearless leader. I'm just here, yo. I'm just here, yo. I think they were talking about placing blocks for Shepherd Moons. She was tweeting Minecraft updates during the event. So, but yeah, I know they were talking about shepherd moons. I think I had seen something that was circular in one of the rings, but that may have just been somebody just plopping down a circle kind of thing. But everything else I think is all, I don't know. Yeah, see, we invoked the Beth. Will you tweet more Minecraft updates from the server for the solar system build? So, hello, Veronica. There's no way I could have stalled long enough to make sure you were on time. I'm sorry. So, okay. Ms. Brickkitten pops up with the server will be up until at least US Thanksgiving. After that, we'll be offering a world download. See? I'm not just telling lies. I'm not just telling lies. The delay must be large right now between me and chat. Alright, because keep in mind that the solar system build isn't, it's not all the planets in a straight line. That's been done before. It's all the planets plus Easter eggs, as the planets would be at a certain time. And I think it's like October 24th or something. So, yeah, and it is a modded server that has a README that you better, well, read before you download it. As they were on midnight Central Daylight Time, 10:24. See, I knew it was 10:24. All right, my lack of caffeine is pouring through. Who should we raid? Who should we raid? Give you all a chance to think about that. While you think about who we should raid, because trust me, if you don't pick, I'll pick. And then you'll be looking at Dash Ducks again. Remind you again that this is a production of the Planetary Science. Sure, we can raid them. Productions Planetary Science Institute, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to exploring our solar system and beyond. That is our home. And today's script was written and edited by myself. Hi, Annie Wilson. Dave Bullard, Gordon Dewis, and Ali Pelfrey. And sorry, I am still waking up. Beth is going to produce all of the web content, and Dr. Pamela is our fearless leader and executive director. Or is it executive producer? I need so much more coffee. And again, thank you everybody for participating over the weekend, for hanging out. Let's see if I can reach it. I've cut stacks of fabric for the mug rugs, so I have made progress. Somebody's going to get a set of larger ones. I have not started embroidering yet. Should have reached out to everybody that's won a set of mug rugs. And, yeah. But thank you for all of your support. The over $14,000, because I don't know what the total is, does help. We really don't like doing this. We don't like begging for money. We really don't. But it is nice to see that y'all care enough to donate your time, talents, and money to help us keep going. I have sick days now, y'all. Y'all are, and you guys made that possible. So thank you. Thank you a lot. All right. I'm okay. It's just last weekend was a lot. And yeah, bring tissues. If you watched the last hour, bring tissues. So, But yeah. It throws coffee through the internet. Yeah, I think I'm gonna take that coffee, Raven Lillian. Beth is reminding me that it's not begging, it's fundraising, but it feels awful sometimes. So no, why? How did that? We got a thing. But yeah, fundraising isn't fun. It feels awkward. But you guys do make a lot of this possible, and we couldn't do it without you. Okay, all right, with that, I really am going to go. We are going to raid Matoro. That's how I'm pronouncing it. And yeah, random rocket noises. I am sorry. So I'm going to see about awkwardly rolling the credits if I didn't bork that, because everything just seems to be borked right now. And yeah, we're going to raid again. Thank you for everything y'all do. Cool, credits are running. And I will see you all in a while. You can always poke your head in Discord and poke at me. So yeah. Bye, everybody. Wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful insert day here. Bye.